In Revelation 3, verse 20, there's a very familiar verse. Behold, I stand at the door and knock, and if anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with them. Now, in my experience, I only heard that verse used in an evangelistic context, that Jesus is knocking at the door of a person's heart so they could invite him in and become a Christian. But look at the context of this verse. Was it written to non-Christians or to Christians? Well, the verse is actually in a letter to the church at Laodicea. So that means that this verse was written to Christians. Now, why would Jesus be knocking on the door of a Christian's heart and wanting to eat with them? Well, if you want to get to know someone who you've just met, what do? You invite them over for a meal, because that's the way you get to hear their heart, know what they're thinking, know what's important to them. That's how you really connect with people. It's usually over food. And this is the analogy Jesus used because he wants to eat with us so that we can become close, so that we can get to know each other, so that you can get to know him and he can get to know what's on your heart. That's the kind of relationship that Jesus wants with you if you'll allow it. But the fact that Jesus had to actually say this in the Bible means that it's possible to be a Christian and have a distant relationship with him. And I call that head knowledge Christianity. And I know all about that because I was a head knowledge Christian for most of my adult life. And what that means is that you can believe all the right things and be a Christian, but have a distant relationship with God. And I remember believing all the right things, but feeling that my relationship with God was distant. He was sort of up there, and I knew I could reach him, but he wasn't very close. And that's not the relationship that Jesus wants to have with us. He wants to have a close, conversational, intimate friendship with us. Now, why is it that so many Christians have just a head knowledge relationship with God? Well, the number one reason is because most Christians don't know that there's an alternative to head knowledge Christianity. And that was my problem. I didn't know that there was anything more to it than believing the right things. And so I didn't realize how close a relationship Jesus really wanted to have with me. So that's the number one reason. If you have no expectation for a close relationship, you won't seek it. The second is, some people just say, a head knowledge relationship is good enough. I don't want to get too religious. The third reason is, I'm afraid to get too close to Jesus because if I have that kind of a relationship with him, I might have to change my behavior. And I don't want to do that. So people keep Jesus at arm's length so he's at a comfortable distance. Believe the right things, but don't change my life. But that's not the relationship Jesus wants. He wants us to have such a close relationship that we can enjoy his presence, and that releases the supernatural power of the Holy Spirit into our daily lives. That's the walk with God he wants us to have. So today, the question is, will you open the door? Will you invite Jesus to dinner? Are you prepared to begin a close, intimate, supernatural relationship with Jesus, which is what he intended for you? So to live a transformed life, you need to open the door to a supernatural, intimate relationship with Jesus. But now I want to hear from you. How have you opened the door and invited Jesus for dinner? Just leave your comments in the box below. We want to know how you did it. And if this is your first visit here, you need to get my free self-assessment guide. And to do that, just subscribe to my weekly email newsletter by filling out the subscription form. And you know where it is. It's always right there. And I'll talk to you again next week. But this week, have Jesus over for dinner.